Fall 2012. The presidential campaign had been well underway for several months, though at times it felt like several years. Republican candidate Mitt Romney was running against incumbent Democrat Barack Obama. The midterm election in 2010 had been a victory for conservative politicians who had pushed back against the liberal policies of Obama. It was unclear whether the 2012 election would continue the trend toward conservative values. They came for women's bodies beginning in January 2012 during the quest for the Republican nomination. In a CNN interview, Rick Santorum stated that abortion should be illegal, even in the case of rape victims, who should
accept this horribly created, in the sense of rape, but nevertheless gift, in a very broken way, but gift of human life, and accept what God is giving to you.
Candidate Ron Paul allowed for an abortion exception for victims of honest rape who seek medical care immediately. Missouri Senate hopeful Todd Akin caused the biggest stir when in August he told reporters,
"It's a legitimate rape. The female body has ways to try to shut that whole thing down."
After that, it seemed like every politician had to remark upon women's bodies, demonstrating misunderstandings of biology and anatomy and a lack of respect for a woman's autonomy. The economy, the military, and a woman's right to her body. While these may appear to be three separate issues, they became key issues in the political platforms of both parties, not because of mere coincidence, but because they are interconnected. A woman's body is an economic resource in terms of her own productive output and her body's reproductive potential. She is human capital. Because a woman's body is then seen as an economic resource, it becomes an object that must be surveilled and regulated. Foucault addresses the intervention of society into improving the social capital, writing, quote, "It is inevitable that the problem of the control, screening, and improvement of the human capital of individuals as a function of unions and consequent reproduction will become actual, or at any rate called for," end quote. The need to control the female body is a matter of national security for both military and economic reasons. Frighteningly, this is not fiction. This is not a chapter from Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale, although maybe it is the preface. This is technology and politics working to regulate women, their rights to their bodies, their right to privacy, and their right to autonomy. This is the state regulating a population. This is biopolitics. Privacy and autonomy are issues linked to biopolitics. Who is granted privacy or autonomy, and by what authority? In the United States, it is assumed that all citizens are granted the right to privacy and limited autonomy by the state. But as Carla Holloway suggests, privacy and autonomy are linked to gender and racial identity, and these supposed rights are actually a, quote, socially selective privilege, end quote, granted to particular bodies, namely the heterosexual white male body. Specifically, quote, Blacks and women find themselves noticeable in public ways that scan and sculpt perspectives regarding their private personhood. In this national script, the bodies of women and blacks are always and already public, end quote. A woman's claim to privacy and autonomy is constantly under attack because of her reproductive potential, which the state has an interest in controlling in order to sustain the population. She then becomes a public resource, and the state may intervene in private matters of reproduction and healthcare if a threat to this human capital is perceived. This state intervention is readily apparent in the discourse of the 2012 election coverage, where a woman's right to make decisions about her own body became a national political platform. This theme is also explored in Battlestar Galactica, in which a decimating attack forces the limited human population to form a new government and figure out how best to ensure the survival of the human race. This project may be best understood as a series of juxtaposed primary texts, theoretical scaffolds, and personal reflections connecting privacy and autonomy. Explorations of privacy and autonomy run throughout the representations and analyses offered here, although they are by no means the only two repeating threads. There are multiple ways to engage and explore this multimodal project. From the homepage, select one of the images to navigate the exhibit thematically to follow how privacy and autonomy interact with citizenship, technology, medicine, and the body. Each section is further separated into the primary text presentation, relevant theoretical selections, and my own analysis of the text. It is my hope that by presenting the primary text, the viewer will be able to construct her own interpretation about these complicated cultural productions. My analysis is simply one interpretation of many, and it is not necessarily the best one. It is possible to read this exhibition as a linear argument from scholarly scaffolding to case study, followed by a claim to new knowledge. However, the multimodal format allows for new experiential reading processes that bounded articles prevent. Explore the intertextual hyperlinks that navigate through the various sections and across the web. Examine the primary text first, or maybe the theoretical structure, or define methodology and explore freely. The juxtaposition of the text and theory may produce unexpected connections.